Welcome back, everybody, to What's Next. I'm Mark. There's Bill. There's Laura. We're thrilled to have you with us. And, lots to talk about today, guys. But I guess it's one step toward normalcy. Major League Baseball is back, if you consider it being back without people in the stands. But I think everybody was watching the season opener yesterday between the Nationals and the Yankees because of who was throwing out the first pitch.
So what you'll see.
This is Dr. Anthony Fauci, 79 years old. He had the honor of throwing out the first pitch. And guys, we all wondered if he was going to bring the heat or not.
My God, look at him walk out there. It doesn't look like he's 79, does he?
I am so thrilled that our biggest national hero right now is a scientist.
Was that a warm-up or was that the pitch?
No.
That was it. It's great to see it. 79 years old. What an honor. I threw out the first pitch for a spring training game for the Atlanta Braves out of Disney one year, Bill. And I practiced like Anthony said he did. And I was determined, to bring the heat. And I was going to go from the mound, and I went back from the mound, and I delivered a fastball. The only problem is it hit the backstop about 30 feet above the catcher. He didn't even move. He just looked up at it, let it fly over his head. And I cringed and hated that for years.
You know what? I think, though, that is kind of an honor. There is a huge list of celebrities. I mean, amazing celebrities who have gone out and sailed them left and sailed them right. And I'm sure Fauci did it on purpose, maybe 6 feet social distancing off the plate. Send a message. Send a message.
And, of course, both teams and Dr. Fauci took a knee for racial justice, which I thought was really a nice move. We're moving toward peace and kindness in our country.
Let's hope so. And by the way, the Yankees won the game 4-1. If you're interested in that, coming up today, we've got a great interview for you folks. Best known for her #1 smash hit in 1977, "Don't Leave Me This Way." Laura has been dancing to this for the past week. She won the Grammy for Best Female R&B Vocal Performance. The great Thelma Houston will join us in just a minute. But first, I'm not sure, guys, if we should be concerned by this or not, but during the pandemic, while most humans have been isolating themselves and most zoos are closed, a group of bears appear to be training in the martial arts. I'm not sure what they have in mind or if we should be concerned, but take a look. What do you think?
Where do you find this stuff? Hey, maybe they should have had the bear throw out the opening pitch. Done that at the Cubs game.
Oh, ouch.
Bears are amazing creatures. It really is. Actually, it wasn't nunchucks. It looks like it. I had to find out more about it. It is some sort of, a toy to keep them engaged somehow. They had no idea what the bear would do with it. And they didn't know that before too long, he would be, having a martial arts routine.
And that looked like a little baton twirling going on there, too, with the stick. Very nice.
Very, very cool stuff. And before we get to the interview, and while we're talking about wild animals, it is amazing. And we've seen that on this show many times, what parents will do to amuse their kids. And let's be honest, to amuse themselves as well. There's a guy in London by the name of Tom Lewis who had this crazy idea that he would take his young children's drawings, their doodles of animals, and actually using his Photoshop skills, turn them into real life examples to bring them to life. Here's what we're talking about. This is what Tom did. So this is what one of his kids drew of, I guess it's a horse.
So he took their crayon drawings and he kind of made them 3D and brought them to life. That is amazing.
Yeah, he found real animals or whatever this is. And somehow, the cool thing about it is he started telling his kids that, you're amazing. Every animal you drew actually exists. It took me a while to find them and photograph them, but look, I did. And the kids were just blown away by that.
What a good dad, and so incredibly creative. Oh, look at that.
And you know,
He
he started posting these on his Instagram page, and now he's got almost 800,000 followers, and parents all over the world send them their children's doodles, and he turns them in to real life animals.
What's he going to do when he has to get back to work?
You know, find a way to monetize this, I guess. We're promoting it for him.
That's really cool and fun, but I don't know. I think I'm going to have bad dreams just looking at those. Some of them are a little scary.
All right, let's get on to the main event. And Laura, I imagine that you are probably a little too young to have been a full-blown disco queen back in the day, but I have seen some of your moves lately, and you could have been if you weren't.
Well, we had the teen discos, and I was a regular. And one of my favorite songs was Thelma Houston's "Don't Leave Me This Way." How can you not move when you hear that one?
Fantastic song. Everybody knows it. And I don't know if everybody realizes what an amazing person that Thelma Houston is. A lot more than just one hit. I mean, as a singer and as a person. Did you know that her mom was a sharecropper? So Thelma has a really unique perspective on life, especially now in this era of social justice. And maybe we'll get into a little of that, huh?
Well, and we did have the opportunity to speak to Thelma Houston, and we got into all of that and what she's doing now, what she's doing next. But let's start with that mega hit. Well, we are so excited for our next guest, Thelma Houston, who won a fabulous, most important Grammy in 1978 for Best Female R&B for Don't Leave Me This Way. And Thelma, I am going to sing it to you right now because that song is basically the soundtrack to my youth. I loved singing that song. I can't believe I actually get to talk to you about it. How are you?
Aww. Okay, let me hear you.
Oh, baby. How's that? My heart is full of love.
Go, girl. Woo! You see, I have the disco set up for you right here.
I love it.
Yeah, this is Thelma Houston Club. Thelma.
Well, I have to tell you, it just makes everything I think about you true, that you actually live in a disco. Of course, we know that you had that gigantic hit. But before that, and this is the connection between you and me, you and Jimmy Webb worked together. Tell me how you met up with my husband, Jimmy Webb, which is what brought us all together.
Well, I met Jimmy through my manager at the time. His name was Mark Gordon. And Mark Gordon was the manager of the Fifth Dimension. And the Fifth Dimension were just out on tour, I believe, with their big hit Up, Up and Away, which Jimmy was the writer of. And Mark Gordon got me a record deal at ABC Dunhill, which was a label that had the Mamas and the Papas and the Steppenwolf and the Three Dog Night and that whole group. And he took me to Jimmy's house to audition for Jimmy. And I did some songs, and Jimmy asked Mark, who was producing me, and Mark said, well, you can if you want. So that's how that happened. And Jimmy wrote incredible songs. He did an album, my first solo album. The name of the album was Sun Shower. It got lots of acclaim as lots of very good critique for it. Everybody knew about it in the business, and I think everybody got a free copy because we were told that the album didn't sell well, but it was my entry into the business, and it was a fantastic entry. And so that was my Jimmy Webb story.
And it's still
and it's still my Jimmy Webb story, and I'm sticking to it. And most recently we just did something together. We redid one of the songs from the album, which someone is standing outside. And am I jumping ahead by talking about
Well,
that now?
I will say that that song is from Sunshower, and that people still talk so much about that album and the songs on there.
Exactly.
And then one day, right at the beginning of the pandemic, I think we'd been in for a few weeks. We'd all been sheltering in place for a few weeks. And Jimmy got an email from you, and it said, "Hey, Jimmy, I think we should redo Someone Is Standing Outside."
Yeah, we actually did go into the studio. Jimmy did a new piano track for it, and he wrote some lyrics that were relevant to today. And I think it turned out really, really good. I'm so pleased with it.
Someone is standing outside.
That's why I like Jimmy's songs, because he writes such classic tunes. They just last throughout time, and so that's why I wanted to do that song, because prior to this COVID 19 thing, there's been just so much meanness brewing in the country, so much meanness, and people are so, there's such this anger that's just permeated everything. And I just thought that song, Someone Is Standing Outside, because it, to me, the lyrics, um, um, live and let live, love and be loved, uh, because I think that the greatest gift of all is that of love. And I think that if we can, and I think that that's really, to me, it's like the golden rule. It's like, do unto others as you would have others do to you. And if people just followed that, just did that, then we would have accomplished so much. And so that's what that song was for me. It was a way for me to come back out of all that, to calm me down and make me think.
He now made it more current to post George Floyd,
Exactly.
which, and just saying, politicians, wake up. It's time for us to be kind to one another, which was
exactly. When they were showing our beloved John Lewis passing away, that went back. I mean, so we've made some progress, but there's still so much underlying things that are there that create so much havoc and stuff. It's like people are saying, like, I'll give an example. I have a grandson who is when he was, well, he's now 20. He's in college now. But when he was going to school, my son is like the great volunteer of all times. He's been a school volunteer for 20 some years. And he had been going to this one school with his kids, walking his son to school, and he stays over there and works on the playground and does whatever they need him to do every day. And every day for a long period of time, there were police officers that were working at the train stop there, Metro train thing, and they would mess with them every single day. Where are you going? Why are you, and so there are those elements out there. And I still have that conversation with my grandson. I have great grandson. Don't do that. When you go out, the police, if you get pulled over, do this, do that. And no, I don't know of a whole lot of other people like my Caucasian friends that have to have that talk. So we're still in that. But I do believe that when people start to feel love and real love, and you can only feel real love when you can have compassion. And when you can have compassion, and then the love comes, and then these things you will be, I won't say automatically erased, but there will be an understanding of why this is going on, why this is going on. And when people have more of an understanding of what's going on, then that's when we can move forward.
I totally agree with you. And that's what we're hoping we can make a little bit of inroads with you and Jimmy, and someone is standing outside. And I'm personally, I am so sorry that you and your grandchildren and your great grandchildren have to still have that talk all these years
Yeah.
later. And it's
Yeah.
it's
It's the way
embarrassing,
yeah.
but we're going to keep moving ahead and
But
doing.
we're gonna keep moving ahead, and we're gonna know that things can only get better,
That's right.
and that's what we're gonna push for.
Now I know we're giggling a little bit because I made you wear those earbuds. I'm going to invite our friends back in, Mark and Bill, because I was telling them how much
Right.
you are so perfect for growing bolder on many levels. And one of them is because of all the technology you had to take on to do this interview today.
I'm telling you, and listen, I believe I trust. If you don't learn and get, you will be left out like a dinosaur. And you have to learn, because you have to be on to the next thing. And I moped for a while in March. I did, because the gigs were being canceled. I had gigs canceled my whole summer. Everything was canceled, and I was sitting and I was twiddling my thumbs. And then I started saying. Matter of fact, that's where the idea for the song came up. I was watching television, and Yo-Yo Man was on PBS, and he was talking about how different artists were doing things at home, and sending it in to PBS for them to play it. And that's when I suggested, I said, well, we could do this song and get it on PBS. I didn't have an idea that we were gonna take it further, much further than that.
Yeah, and we did it
But
with
Laura
you in
said
LA.
she doesn't do it. She said she doesn't do little things. She does. So.
we had Thelma in LA, Jimmy on Long Island, and the choir in Canada, each in their own bedrooms. So,
Exactly.
yeah.
Well, Thelma, we greatly admire people who just keep on keeping on. And I'm not going to ask you your age, because that's a very personal thing, but I can do the math. And unless you were
Yeah.
10 or 12 years old back in 1978, you've mentioned you've got a great grandchild. Let me only say this. You're not only a beautiful person, we've heard that in what you've said, you're a beautiful woman. What do you do to maintain this level of energy, this level of interest, this all that you're doing? What's your secret?
Well, thank you very much. And I'm going to tell you, I still have a friend who, I don't know if you recall a show back in the day called Dance Fever with Danny Terrio.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, there were the two girls that danced with him. They were called Motion. Well, one of those girls is my dear friend, and she's one of my best friends. And at that time, back then, she was saying to me, "Ooh, girl, you need to, you shouldn't do that, or don't eat that, or, oh, are you gonna eat another fat burger? Ooh, what kind of exercise?" And I would get so upset with her. I'd want to just choke her. I just want to choke her. And finally, one day I said, "Look, you're the one that have to be up there dancing and showing everything. I'm a singer, and I don't have to worry about all that." She says, "Well, you don't have to be a fat singer, and you would probably sing better if you did little." I said, "Oh, girl, oh no, you didn't." So she kept at it. She kept at it. I'm telling you, she really did. And finally, I said, "God, just to shut her up, And I would go to UCLA and started working out. And I started feeling a little better, but I wasn't really acquainted to exercise or anything, but I really did. I started my attitude, and my singing got better, got stronger. And so that's when I realized how important exercise was. Anyway, in June, I did my first 10K marathon.
Good
And
for
so
you.
every few years I do something. I'm always exercising. Right now I'm doing I'm doing boot camp. But when I turn 50, I learned how to box. So that was my thing. So for this last birthday, with this last May, my goal was to be able to do 100 burpees on my birthday, May 7th, and to be able to do it in 30 minutes. And I
You
did.
are
That
kidding
made
me.
my goal.
Wow.
I thought
Well,
you
you
took the
do-
whole
you do-
day.
No, the whole day.
It would take
you
me
do-
the
you do-
whole day.
Well, you do 25 at a time.
Wow.
25 at a time. Catch your breath. and then
And
you
do you-
do 25
do you-
more. And
do you-
then at the end you start doing 10. And then finally, you've done it.
And the disco lights and the disco music must help while you're doing burpees.
I just put this up there. I had to do a virtual a show for San Francisco Pride. So this is back in June. And so I thought, well, let me give them something special. So I went out and found my disco balls. You can't see the disco balls, but there are disco balls up there,
Oh yeah.
like, and so and I have my lights going and everything, and they really appreciated that I took the extra effort to do it.
Well, we do too, because you are just so much fun. I told you guys, right? She's outrageous. She's really, really fun. And I'm really impressed with that whole 100 burpee thing. And she does boot camp.
Yeah,
Boot camp.
yeah.
You know, it's interesting when we were talking, we're talking to Thelma Houston, and when Laura first told Mark and I that, hey, we could get her on the show, we were really pleased to learn, Thelma, that everybody who's worked with you has nothing but great things to say about your personality, about your work ethic, about how dedicated you are. So that's probably part of the reason that you've been able to thrive in a business that chews people up and spits them out. And when you guys
thank you.
when you guys were talking about the race issue that's come back to the forefront, we want people to understand your perspective, because you see things like few others. I mean, your mother in the Mississippi Delta was a sharecropper. I mean, she actually picked cotton.
That was our back. She picked cotton. I did too.
So here we are.
My mom, that was their livelihood. They were my mother's parents were sharecroppers, and my mother did it for a while after when she had me. My mother worked at the doctor's office, and there was a colored waiting room, the white waiting room, different, and all of that. And I lived on the other side of the creek. Interesting little bit of trivia. Jim Henson grew up in our town in Leland, Mississippi. Did you know that?
The Buffett Man.
And what was it? The frog's name? What was
Kermit.
Kermit was his good friend, and they used to live in that little creek that they talk about runs right through the town. So
that's incredible. While we're talking about labels with you, Thelma, you've had labels all your life. I mean, one thing that people put you in is this disco label, and that is a huge mistake, folks, because you should hear, the gospel roots and the blues that come from Thelma Houston. And if you go back to your second album, the one with your name, Thelma Houston's the name of the album, and listen to the unbelievably powerful message songs on that album, like The Sun Don't Shine in Black California.
Yeah.
And it's a
Blackberries.
Blackberry also,
Blackberries.
which is about slaves, what it was like for slaves coming in. These are songs that are as relevant today, and I don't understand. There's so many great songs on that album that I just wanted to push that. The Bunny White song, Blackberries, and there is a God, and Do Something About It, and What If. These are all amazingly powerful songs that are relevant today. Do you feel like your message now and the things you're doing with Jimmy and moving forward, do you feel like we need your voice now, maybe more than we did in the 70s?
I love those songs, and I think they were strong.
Well, this was just so much fun, and of course, we know you're an actress as well. You continue to act and appear in different TV shows, and it's an incredible career. I'm so proud to say I know you, Thelma, and thank you for taking all this time.
Well, thank you so much for talking to me. I enjoyed it so much.
You are a party waiting to happen, and I know people are going to want to learn more about you. And I know we've got some links that we can share that will help people, find all about Thelma Houston, her amazing career in the past and moving forward. You can find her on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. Her website is thelmahouston.com. We will put all of this on our website as well, because I hope you can tell we're big Thelma Houston fans, and we know there are many, many others out there as well. And it's the first time we've had in any interview anybody brought up Denny Terrio. It's been a while since I thought about that shirt that went all the way down. And thank you for that. And Laura, if you want to dance us out, Laura, that would be okay.
Oh, baby, my heart is full of love and desire for you.
So come on now and do what you gotta do.
Oh, man.
Woo! Fire down in my soul.
Let's do some burpees.
Burning out of control. Come on now.
You cannot buy this. Thank you, Thelma.
You're awesome.
Thank you.
What you? Bye. And that, of course, was the great Thelma Houston and her new song, Someone is Standing Outside, with updated lyrics, along with Jimmy Webb and the Sir William Mulock Choir. Chris Uchida is the director. It will be coming out on August the 7th, Friday, August the 7th. You can hear it anywhere you stream your music. Ask Alexa to play it for you. Check it out on YouTube. The choir guys they were incredible. They came out of their summer vacation, the students, to be part of this project. And she is a party waiting to happen.
I think you can put on your resume now, Laura, backup singer for Thelma Houston.
Yay, I love that.
4 people on the screen at once, a true disco diva, and 3 disco posers.
What an attitude. She really does embody the Growing Bolder ethos of just keeping on. A lot of struggle in her life, a lot of struggle for everybody today, but she's still smiling and still having fun. And, folks, we think that the Growing Bolder message is really more relevant and important now than ever, because the pandemic does have all of us re-examining our lives. We're adjusting our priorities. In many cases, we are trying to figure out what's next, which is what Growing Bolder has always been about. And you've probably noticed that this program has never had a sponsor or an advertiser. And in fact, we rarely accept any sort of brand mentions at all on social media, on our television shows, our radio show, even our magazine. We typically refuse all advertising because we want to be credible. We want to be authentic. We want to only bring information that we think can help you. And all of this to say that we are beyond excited that Growing Bolder's What's Next right here on Facebook and YouTube now has someone that's far more than a sponsor. It's really a partner that believes that we do, as we do, that life is, worth celebrating, that the rest of our lives can, in fact, be the best of our lives. And that partner is Florida Blue Medicare. And we are honestly, just blown away by their leadership and their commitment to not just providing great health care, but maybe more importantly, all of the resources, all of the tools and the tips that we need to continue to live with passion and purpose, really no matter what our age is. We believe, as do they, that growing older is a blessing. It's something that should be appreciated. It's something that we should be grateful for. It's something that we should be excited about, and it's something that we should celebrate.
Hey, congrats! You were born to be 65. And now that you are, you should know that Growing Bolder has created a simple guide to take the guesswork out of choosing a Florida Blue Medicare Advantage plan. Just click here to get there.
And you know what? When you do go there, growingboulder.com/Medicare, here's what you can download. And, I'm really excited about this. This is Growing Boulder's outrageously cool and, dare we say, interesting guide to Medicare. It is unlike anything that discusses Medicare that's ever been produced. And honestly, folks, you don't have to be of Medicare age or care anything about Medicare to want this and receive great value from it. It is 60 pages long. It's all about becoming a rock star of aging. It's about prehabilitating for what's ahead of us. It is truly a playbook for the rest of your life. So if you go to growingboulder.com/Medicare, you can download an e-copy of Growing Boulder's outrageously cool and, dare we say, interesting guide to Medicare. Guys, it is great to have a partner with us in this venture of ours.
And what is it, Mark, that you've said for ages is that we're not looking for a partner, we're looking for the right partner. Mm-hmm. And they're the right partner because there's a huge benefit there. And as Mark said, even if you're not in the market for Medicare, maybe your parents are getting close or somebody you know is, but this guy, the key element in this guide is something we all need. It's inspiration. It's
Amen.
Motivation to be the best you that you can be. And it's it's no cost. There's nothing to lose by picking up the guide and flipping through it.
And that's something for people who don't live in Florida as well are going to get value from that.
Amen. Well, thank you for that. And let's begin to put this show into the garage with our meme for the week. And our meme today comes from Dr. Joseph Coughlin, who is the director of the MIT Age Lab. And he loves to say, you've just gained 30 to 40 years of longer life, and you're just sitting there. And that's far more than just a quote. It's far more than just something to think about. I mean, did you know that back in 1932, when the Social Security Act was approved, that which pretty much determined that at age 65, we received full retirement benefits, the average life expectancy back then was just 62. So, it really is easy to understand this psychological and physiological connection between 65 and the end of our lives, because it really was pretty much time when you reached retirement age to get your affairs in order and to begin to live on your memories. These days, it's nothing like that. When you turn 65, we all have the potential for 2 and 3, and some people even 4 years of active life beyond what is considered normal retirement age. And these can be years that are filled with passion and purpose. The average human being lives about 30,000 lives or 30,000 days, if we're lucky. And by the time we're 65, there's only about 7,000 days left. So, the question for you, the question for all of us each and every day is, what are we going to do with that day? We can't buy in to this ageist culture that wants to diminish, that wants to demean every day beyond what it considers to be our prime. No, we can't live that way. We have to continue to celebrate life. We have to realize that every birthday is a celebration, which, once again, is reason, guys, why we're thrilled to have a partner that is far more interested in providing healthcare, a partner that believes in a holistic approach to life, a partner that believes that we have to move, we have to improve the way we eat, we have to improve the way we think. That if we do, aging can be a great thing.
That's it. Stay strong, healthy, eat right. And I'm really happy about our new sponsor.
And they're all about making a difference. And isn't that the key to growing bolder too? Because it makes us all healthier, happier, makes us want to get up in the morning and feel like we're relevant and making a difference.
Amen. One more final reminder, just go to growingboulder.com/Medicare and you can get this outrageously cool and, dare we say, easy to understand guide to Medicare. So, that's it, folks. We had a lot of fun today. Thank you so much for joining us on What's Next. We'll see you next week at this time. Until then, it's Mark.
And Bill.
And Laura. And remember, you can find the show. If you didn't get to watch it now, tell your friends to clue in and get on Facebook or on the Growing Bolder webpage and take a look. See you.
Growing Bolder, what's next?